So today we're going to be setting up and restringing a Gibson style guitar. This one right here. This one that the ship have given me. It's an Epiphone Les Paul. I've been given it to do a show and I've not really set one up very much in the past. So today really is just taking you through, how I'm going to do it with very minimal tools that I have. I've been given this guitar for a show by Virgin Voyages. I'm on the ship right now. This is actually my cabin, my tiny little cabin that I'm in. So this is where I'm going to be doing all my videos, and yeah, I'm going to be restringing this guy. I'm going to be setting the action a little bit lower, and I'm going to check the intonation. I'm going to take you guys through what I do. So let's jump into it. Okay, so firstly you're going to want to take off the old strings, which I've already done. When this is done, this is the perfect opportunity to get a microfiber cloth or something just to clean all the areas that you wouldn't be able to get to normally because there's strings in the way, which is all around here, all by the pickups and around by the bridge. This guy I've just noticed actually comes loose. It's interesting. So you want to try and keep that guy fixed in there. Cleaning the neck. I've already cleaned this previously, but this is, how you would do it. Obviously, you take your time and you get real in there, get all the dust out, get all the, grimy stuff off the neck. And once that's done, we can then start restringing the guitar with some brand new strings. These are the strings I've been working with today. These are the NYXL Diodario 10 to 46 gauge strings, so pretty medium sized strings, but Diodario are very, very good strings to use. I've used their cables for a long time, and if they're anything to go by, the cables, then they will last a long time and they'll be very, very good. They will sound nice and crisp and clear for a long time. And they give you a nice little guide when you open them up as to see like what string is what color and stuff. This is to give you a bit of like a guide as to which color is which string. So the low E string is the one I like to put on the guitar first. That is a brass color, so that's this guy right here. I'm gonna unravel him like this. I'm gonna thread him through the bridge or the saddle, whatever this bit is called. I should know, but I don't. The string is threaded through here now. It's pulled all the way through. I mean, you need to line it up with the saddle sort of inlay dent in here, which it sits in. Pull him up through and take the other end and thread him through the hole like this. Real simple. I've noticed that this is a very, very tight squeeze actually to get this through here, but you can pull him through like this. Now what we want to aim for is like with the thicker strings, probably about 2 winds around the tuning peg. Now, because I've done this a few times with like Fender guitars and stuff, I can kind of guess that you need about sort of, I don't know, this much slack to get enough winds around the tuning peg. So I'm going to go with that. I'm actually going to pull it back a little bit because I think it's going to be a little more slack than that. Okay, we'll see how that goes. Then once I've kind of got my amount, I'm going to bend the string against the tuning peg and I'm going to hold it up like this. Hopefully you can see that. Then I'm going to, so I now have a kind of anchor point. It's kind of fixed in there. I can take my finger off and I can pull against this bit and it's not going anywhere because you've kind of bent it around. But I'm just going to hold my thumb and my finger in this position, and then I'm going to start winding. And I'm going to keep the tension. I'm actually not going to put my thumb there. I'm actually just going to pull on this guy, but not too tight, just sort of like medium tightness. Right? Tight like a tiger. And I'm going to just start winding counterclockwise on the tuning peg, which means it's going to wrap around. And I'm going to hold this, hold this string here relatively sort of flat, almost like touching the nut. I'm going to pull him around, and we want this sort of horizontal string to wrap around this vertical string. Okay? We want the first wind to be as low as possible. Reason being is that the next wind around is going to be above the previous wind, okay? I'll try and hold this a bit closer. See, I've not got a lot of space in this room, so This is a very unorthodox method of restringing, but this is what we're working with today. It's all good fun. I'm going to wind this round, and you can see the wind is now going around. Okay, this part. I'm going to keep going. All the time I'm keeping the tension here. Wind it around, keep going, keep going, keep going. Okay, that's now gone around like a couple times. It's coming around to 3 times now, so I left probably a little bit too much on there, but it's going to work. I'm just pulling this down a bit because I'm keeping the winds nice and tight together. If you can wrap it around 3 times, that's okay. That's probably the maximum amount you want. Okay. Now we're getting somewhere close. And I'm gonna just stretch the string out a little bit as I'm doing this, because you'll notice when you first put strings on the guitar, they really do need stretching all the time, because the more you stretch them, the more stretched out they get, obviously. The more you stretch them, the lower in pitch they get, and you have to pull them up again. You have to tune them up again. That's about what an E should sound like. It's an E note-ish, using my ear. Okay, that's the first string on. Let's go for the second. I'm just going to do these in order. I'm going to do the A string next, which is the red tip. So same thing again, we're going to thread this through. Thread this guy through the bottom of the saddle here. Pull him all the way through so that this red tip disappears. And then I'm going to sit him in the saddle, in the little groove in the middle of the saddle right there. Pull him through. Nice. Same thing again. Just going to send him through the hole. Now I've noticed with these headstocks is the holes aren't exactly through, you know, they don't go through like centrally through the tuning peg. They kind of at like an angle. So you have to actually thread it through the correct hole. You can't thread it through one hole. It has to be through a certain hole because it kind of hooks around. I'm actually going to bend him because that will make it easier to find the other end. Oh, I've got it wrong. Okay, should be able to go through here and then come out the other end. I am struggling. Took some time, but I actually got him through. I don't know if you can see this, but it doesn't really go through straight. Like the hole doesn't go through straight on the tuning peg. It's sort of like through the side of the tuning peg, if you know what I mean. It doesn't go through center, so a little bit tricky at first, actually. Like unlike Fenders go straight through. I find that a lot more simple. This is a little bit trickier. We want to leave ourselves enough slack again. I think I probably left too much slack on the E string, so I'm going to give slightly less slack this time. I'm going to find my anchor point. I'm going to find my anchor point, bend the string and pull him up like this. And I'm going to start winding again, anti-clockwise. All the time I'm going to pull against the string. I'm going to sit him in the nut of in the little groove in the nut here, and I'm just going to pull. Keeping the string tight, keeping that first wound low, but it needs to go above the previous round. So I'm actually going to pull him up a bit so make sure he goes above the previous wind, like so. Okay, keeping the string tight the whole time I'm turning, making sure the string goes above the previous wind, just so he captures that string. Okay, you can see he's I kind of needed like another wind to go around that, so I kind of misjudged that. But the more you stretch it out, I'm not pulling too tight, I'm just pulling enough. You want to pull, but you don't want to like really pull, you know? Let's keep going, let's keep motoring on. The D string is the black one. I don't know if you can see that. It's a black tip. Thread him through, give him a little pull, send him through the hole. Which is a little bit trickier. You can actually just turn these, you know. I don't know if they made them like that for restringing, but you can just turn them without turning the tuning pegs. Okay, so there's a certain way that you do this. I've realized. You think it's one hole, but you actually have to put it in the other one. Okay, so the last one didn't give me enough wine, so this one is going to give me hopefully enough. It's going to probably about there. It's a slightly thinner string, so you can give a bit more slack. Okay, I've got my anchor point here, the D string. Same thing again, keeping the string tight, keeping the first wind nice and low, and the second wind is going to go above the previous one. Keeping the string tight with my right hand the whole time, turning the tuning peg with my left hand. And you can see this wind is now going to go wrap around the vertical string that's left over. Okay, I'm actually going to pull my finger here so to make sure it goes above. Alright, he's in. Just going to give him a little stretch. That one's pretty good. I guess third time lucky, because you've got about 2 winds going around the tuning peg there, which is what we want, which is great. I'm going to continue on with the G string, thread him through. Actually right now, what I'm going to do, because these guys are kind of getting in the way, I'm just going to trim the ends because they're getting in the way and kind of getting annoying. Just going to collect these up nice and neatly, the ends. I'm just going to set them aside because I want to dispose of them all together nice and neatly in the bin. And we've got our G string here. We're going to the other side of the headstock this time. I'm going to find the hole, thread him through like this. Now we're getting into like the thinner strings, so we can allow for a bit more slack because there's more room. There's going to be more room around the headstock to wind this around because obviously these strings are thinner. I'm just sort of trying to gauge how much room I'm going to have here. Probably about there. So I'm going to try and create a nice little anchor point like I've been doing. We want to wind the headstock the opposite way this time. This is going to be, well, no, it's still anti-clockwise actually. I've got my anchor point like this. I'm actually going to use my left hand to hold it because I'm right-handed. As I'm winding it around, I'm making sure that I'm trapping the string, and the next wind is going above the previous wind, keeping the string tight as I do this the whole time. Now I'm just going to pull the string down that's already around the tuning peg because you want to keep it as low as possible so that the next wind around sits tightly above it, but there's enough space on the tuning peg. Okay, now the string is pretty much there. Okay, great. So what have we got? About 2 or 3 winds in there. Yeah, looks pretty good. Just gonna trim this guy. Get the thing nice and neat. And on to our final 2 strings. The B string. Find the hole. There he is. And again, it's tricky. Tricky on a Gibson. Alright. Want lots of slack for this one. The strings are getting nice and loose now. Sorry, nice and thin. So, want plenty of slack because you're going to get a chance to wind the string around the tuning peg lots of times. Probably 3, maybe 4 times. Get my anchor point. And start winding. Just going to push this wind down with my thumb as much as I can. Okay, we're on to our last string. The high E string, which is this final silver tip, the thinnest string of all. Now with the high E string, it's the thinnest string of all, so it's your opportunity to get as many winds around the tuning peg as possible to really, you know, trap the remainder of the string in there and get them nice and tight so that to secure the tuning, you know, so the string will never slip or hardly slip, and it will really hold the tuning as best as possible. Just want to say that there are tools out there you can put on the headstock and you can have a handle and wind it around. It's a lot quicker. I have not got many tools. I'm really working with, you know, the bare minimum here, so this is why I'm just using my fingers. You want to be careful when you do that. I was focusing so much on the headstock that I actually missed the saddle, so I need to just realign the string and sit him right in the groove there, otherwise, you know, it won't work. Okay, now all the strings are on the guitar. I'm just going to finish off by cutting this guy here. I'm going to dispose of all these remainders of the strings. So now all the strings are on the guitar, but they're not in tune. So I'm just going to tune this guy. I'm going to use my Fender Tune app here. I need to tune this to E flat, which is half a step down. Half a step down, not focusing there. Click done. So I've just got the app down here on my knee and I'm clicking each string and tuning up to it using my ear. You don't have to use your ear, you can use like a clip-on headstock tuner or perhaps a plug-in tuner. This is just how I like to tune guitars these days. Now when you're tuning brand new strings, it's important to stretch them out as you go along, because brand new strings need stretching. And the more you stretch them, you'll find that they go lower in pitch. So you need to like re-sharpen them again by, you know, turning the headstock the right way to get the pitch higher. Okay, we're giving them a good stretch and retune again. They'll be flat, so you need to tune them higher. Go through this a few times. That'll do for now. Okay, so now I want to set the action a little bit lower for this guitar because it's a little bit too high. It's making it a little bit difficult to play. So we just need a pair of pliers, something like this, or mole grips, something that has teeth that you can use to wrap around this little nut right here. So I'm going to set the camera down a bit again. So I'm going to adjust these. Looks like you got to turn it clockwise to get it lower. Right, there's one here at the higher E string end, and there's also one. It's got teeth on the side of it, so that's why you need a pair of mole grips or pliers that also have teeth, so you can get around it and be able to adjust it adjust it left and right to get it higher and lower. So I'm gonna just do some adjusting and see what works here. I'm gonna go a bit lower this side. So this means I gotta do clockwise turns. Got 1, 2 turns there. As you can see, it's actually making the pitch of the strings go down because I'm actually decreasing the tension of the strings here, because I'm going lower instead of higher and pulling against the strings. I'm decreasing the tension, so I'm gonna have to retune after this. So that's what I'm gonna do now, retune. Now what I wanna do is just test that it's not too low that I'm getting fret buzz anywhere. I'm just gonna play each fret up the string. Make sure each note plays and rings out nice and clearly. You don't get any kind of weird buzzing noises. So that low E string sounds fine. Let's try the A string. Usually you get it around these higher frets up here, but sounds okay so far. The D string. G string. Sounds okay. Sounds okay. Now the strings are kind of going out of tune a little bit, so it's just a constant state of stretching and retuning. I think I can take the action down a little bit more on this side, so that's what I'm going to do. Take these grips and I'm going to just give them one turn, one small turn that way. That's lowering the action a little bit. I'm just going to check that I'm getting no fret buzz anywhere. You want to try bending the strings, and if you're getting any choking, then you know the action is too low. I'm just bending a whole step, and if it's choking at all, but it's not, so that should be pretty good. Sounds pretty good to me. Okay, so that's it. I've got the action nice and low as I could get it without getting any fret buzz. I'm pretty happy with it, and the guitar's in tune. I've got some nice new fresh strings on there. It's nice and clean. It's ready to go. That is how you do a quick little kind of amateur setup with very minimal tools. Honestly, I had just these pair of pliers to adjust the action. Sorry, the pliers, mole grips. I've just got these mole grips to set the action, and I've just got this tool here to cut the ends of the strings off. But yeah, that's all you really need to set up a Gibson style guitar. Hope this has helped you guys, and I hope it's useful. Of course, when you're adjusting the action and things, go easy. Just do a couple of small turns in the beginning, because you know you don't want to like break anything. You just want to be nice and careful. It's an instrument in the end, so you want to take good care of your instrument and not yank things too hard. You don't want things to break, so go easy. Make sure there's no fret buzz when your action is nice and low. Okay, if it's too low, then you need to raise the action to get rid of that fret buzz. But yeah, hope this has helped. I'll see you guys in the next video.